Our story today is about a comic book character that came to life. It's called Joe. I'm not kidding. That's how Joe's last name is pronounced, like a Bronx cheer. Joe first appeared in a comic strip in 1940 called Little Abner by a cartoonist named Al Cap. Cap's main character was Lil Abner in a backwater called Dogpatch. Lil Abner was born lucky. Then we have Daisy May, born beautiful. Joe was born a little different. Everything around him went bad. He was a likable fellow with the best of intentions and the worst of luck. Luck like that tends to spread to everyone around. Joe was a jinx. Joe was a cartoon character, but jinxes are real. Psychologists have a name for bad luck. They call it psychological reversal. People with that condition avoid success. The same goes for happiness. They drive it away. They don't do it intentionally, they do it subconsciously. They can't help it. Luck is contagious. So if you want to be lucky, you hang out with lucky people. If you want to be unlucky, you hang out with unlucky people, like Joe. This is a story about choices and the people who make them. It's also about bad luck, a streak of it. The names are blacked out, not just to protect the innocent, but to protect everyone. Starting with a prestigious hotel. Here it is. Founded in 1988, this hotel had a 4-diamond rating and needed to expand in 1997. Joe made up some spreadsheets with promising results and a 600% rate of return. That plan had a problem. It published Social Security numbers of 3 of the owners. Tough luck for them. 4 years later, they showed up in court over a $2,000 debt. 13 years later, they showed up in court again, bankrupt. Joe made out okay. His name never appeared on those spreadsheets or anywhere on the plan. Next, we have a toy maker. Joe put some money into that, $5,000 for 500 shares. He came up with some spreadsheets too, just like he did for the hotel, 4 of them. The more spreadsheets he came up with, the smaller the print got. Ditto for the toy maker's paychecks. They got smaller too. Joe wanted the toy maker to accept the spreadsheets he'd come up with as business plans. This was Joe's final offer. Here's Joe's most likely spreadsheet. It would have given him a 600% rate of return on his investment, just like the ones that had been done for the hotel. But it didn't give the toy maker much. He was expected to work without a salary, along with all his employees. When the toy maker didn't accept Joe's plan, Joe turned him in to the police. When the toy maker took action against Joe, a marathon lawsuit followed. The lawyers won. Joe taught classes at the local community college too. He taught students how to create a business and financial plan. His classes were advertised with flyers. It took a lawsuit to get Joe's resume. The local community college didn't have one. They didn't have any paperwork on him. Nothing. He taught that class for years. He taught the same subject to lots of people, hundreds of them, with a college degree in engineering, not business or finance, but engineering. Joe turned out to be an expert, not in business planning or financial planning. He was an expert in toilet paper. That was in 2003. The community college got into some trouble after that. In 2015, it closed. Joe didn't stop there. He came up with a financial plan for a local business incubator, financed by the local school district. He came up with a spreadsheet as well that projected a $35,000 loss for local taxpayers. He came up with a 7-page business plan too that identified 7 supporters. The only supporter that Joe didn't identify was the local school district. They found out about Joe's plan later at the local hotel. An elected official discovered Joe's spreadsheet and business plan, so they crashed that meeting. That was the end of Joe's business incubator. But wait, there's more. The incubator was sponsored by an internet service provider owned by the local school district. The school district dumped that ISP for $300,000 in 2024. There's no local business incubator today. Like the prestigious hotel and the toy maker, it's gone. Joe kept at it. He got involved at the local art center. They needed a strategic plan, but they couldn't come up with any leadership. That didn't stop Joe. He came up with one anyway, a draft. That was in 2010. Joe's plan was never adopted, so the art center needed a new one. That was in 2023. Joe is a tough act to follow. Business plans never materialized, so the bottom fell out in 2025. Joe started a photography business in 2007 with stunning photographs. Mendocino's a small town, and word had gotten out by then about what Joe had done. For the prestigious hotel, the toy maker, the community college, the business incubator, and the art center. Joe showed his work in a number of local art galleries, one right after the other, starting with Mendocino's oldest art gallery. That didn't last. And Fort Bragg's newest art gallery. That didn't last either. Joe offered his photographs online with a stunning website in 2012. 13 years later, he'd gotten no website traffic. 0. Joe's wife had the same luck he did. We'll call her Lovey. Lovey's a writer. She's got 2 books to her name, both of them self-published. Her first book is about a cat fight between neighbors. She published that in 1997. Her last book was a collection of short stories. She published that in 1999. Amazon sold both of Lovey's books for a while, but not today. Amazon dropped Lovey's first book, just like the local bookstore and theater company. Her second book is out of print and poorly rated. Amazon has a bestseller rank, or BSR. 10 of Lovey's neighbors are on that list. The toy maker's in the middle. Lovey's dead last. The toy maker had a problem with a stalker in 2001. So Lovey took sides with the stalker. The stalker was convicted for breaking into the toy maker's house twice. Once for contempt of court and once for invasion of privacy. The stalker later went to jail for assault. Lovey hasn't written any books lately or backed any stalkers. Joe and Lovey are theater goers and supporters at the local theater company. They're also major donors, sort of. They donated $1,500 in 2014. Cash money. And another $50,000 as an endowment in 2018. But when Joe and Lovey showed up, the endowment started disappearing. All of them. They were credited for an endowment with no cash value in 2021. The local theater company lost half of its net worth in 2024. $125,000 was lost. Poof. But Joe and Lovey are still there, recognized as major donors for more than $10,000. For $1,500, luck has finally improved for Joe and Lovey. Joe is big on spreadsheets for others. He's not so big on bar charts for himself. The local theater company was growing before Joe got involved. Once he got there, it started shrinking. That luck didn't start in Mendocino. It all started far, far away before Joe arrived. Joe had been a big shot, a hard-charging business executive for a big corporation. He was in charge of paper products when that corporation produced a tampon that killed 20 women. He was in charge of packaged soap when that corporation produced a powdered bleach that exploded if it wasn't produced safely. The bleach flopped, and the tampons were taken off the market while Joe was there. None of this happened by chance. It all happened by choice. All thanks to Joe, $1,500, and a streak of bad luck. Theater people are superstitious. No saying good luck before a performance, whistling in the theater, or putting shoes on a table. But for $1,500, everything's on the table at the local theater company, even Joe. Thanks for watching.